So besithi xa isemsebenzini athathe usista wami amgcinise next door ndimnandishiye. Ngathi xa ndisothuka ebusuku uphathaphatha usista wam lo mncinci. She was 7 years that time. Ndavele ndafriza because zandisendi-naked. Wathi izinto endizenziwa ngumamakho zizobuyela apha kuwe. Benoyika umama, ndisamoyika nangoku izinto ezinto ndimxelela. Honey.
My name is Nozvede Kamganamayaba. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe and join the rest of the family. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. Apologies for only sharing this video now. It's just been a hectic week, but yeah, better late than never. Okay. So guys, I am doing a review on episode 4 of my show called Yes, I Have HIV. I assist people that are living with HIV to disclose their HIV statuses to their loved ones. And this week we met Untombo Zuko. Untombo Zuko was diagnosed with HIV in 2018. She found out that she was HIV positive in 2018. But before I can share the story, I want to take it back, because one of the things that I do on the show, before I hear about the HIV story, I want to get to know them better by asking them, how did they grow up? Because you actually find out that beside the HIV story, there is a lot to unpack about this person that actually affects, even the person that they bring to the show they want to disclose to, the kind of relationship that they have with this person. So Nozuko had a very tough childhood. I don't want to lie. When I asked her about it, it seems like mom relocated to Cape Town. I can't recall which city or which rural town they come from, but it is in the Eastern Cape. So mom relocated to Cape Town, leaving 3 girls behind. She's the oldest of 3 girls, and usually on school holidays they'll then go to Cape Town to visit mommy. So in this one incident, when they were visiting Umama, it seems like Umama was not at home. It might have been Umama was at work. We are not sure. I didn't ask. So she woke up in the middle of the night, and one of the sisters, the youngest of the sisters, was crying. And upon investigating what was going on, one of the male family friends was about to rape her younger sister. So in her attempt to save her younger sister, the male family friend actually said, okay, if you are stopping me from doing this to your younger sister, then you are going to take the position, or you're going to take the place of your younger sister. And that is how her first incident of rape occurred. And so I asked her, did she tell anyone? Did she tell her mom what happened? She said no, because they have a very complicated relationship with her mother. It's one of those moms that are quite closed off, about talking about feelings, talking about things that are just affecting your life. Very similar to my mom, and that's why I could relate to some of the things that she was saying towards her relationship with her mother. So she went back home in the Eastern Cape, where she was schooling at the time. And as she was busy attending classes, the teachers actually realized that, hang on a sec, there's something wrong with this child. And it was discovered that she had an infection that resulted from the rape incident. And the teachers then called the parent, Umama in this case. Umama was called in from Cape Town. She arrived, and that's the first time that she disclosed that she had been raped by this male family friend. Now, what's very heartbreaking is that upon disclosing what happened, upon telling Umama and the rest of the family what happened, nothing was done. Literally, she says the following day, Umama took a taxi back to Cape Town, and that was it. There was no follow-up in terms of whether a case was going to be opened, whether or not she was going to receive the counseling. She had to navigate all of that alone, which, like, as a young child in school, I can't begin to imagine. And it didn't end off there, unfortunately. She had a second incident of rape. Once again, when she was in Cape Town visiting mom. At this point in time, I'm not sure whether she and the sisters had relocated permanently to Cape Town. But she says, I think it was in the middle of the night, because I remember her saying she could not see the person. So the person went inside the house through the window and raped her. The only thing that she remembers about this second incident of rape was a person saying, "You are going to pay for the sins of your mom." Ne? And when I say she had a very tough childhood, not only about the things that happened to her, but the fact that she did not have a support system to carry her through all of those things. The other thing that was quite interesting was also, I kept on asking her, the fact that she had other siblings, she had other two sisters, how was the relationship between the other sisters and mom? And it seemed like it was much better. The other sisters felt they could speak to the mom about anything and everything, and she would listen, but it was quite different with her. And when I investigated further, she did mention that I think the animosity between her and mom came from a difficult relationship that mom had with her dad. But we didn't get into detail about that. So she came into the show to disclose her HIV status to her two sisters. What is her HIV story? So she was in a relationship with this guy. It was a very abusive relationship, physically, emotionally. They will always fight physically. They will always fight. There was an incident where she says one of the worst fights that they had, it ended up with her taking a knife and I think almost stabbing the guy, right? Because she was trying to defend herself. Another incident which led her to now discover her HIV status, they had fought, and then the guy took a SIM card out of her phone. Now, it will be a cycle, like all the time. They'll fight, the guy would leave and then come back and try to work things out, and then it will repeat all over again. So the guy took the SIM card, left, and then a couple of days after came back, and then she asked obviously for her SIM card. Then okay, the SIM card is in the car, go and take it in the cabin hole in the car. She arrived in the car, opened the car. As she opened the cabin hole, a container of pills, Landuka came out. And upon investigating, she actually found out that those were ARVs. Ne? She immediately confronted the boyfriend, but what is going on? Okay, I know that these are ARVs. How long have you known that you're HIV positive and you have not been using protection and so forth? So at first it seems the guy had, come clean that he was HIV positive, was afraid to tell her about his HIV status because he was afraid that she would leave. But as time went by and them trying to, work things out and seeing, how things are going to go, and her actually now going to the clinic and confirming that she was also HIV positive, the guy changed his story. By now, it was not him that infected her. It can't be true, and all of those things. And eventually, the relationship, was beyond the fixing. They broke up. Oti, she did tell Umama immediately through a WhatsApp message about her positive HIV status. Umama blue ticked her, saw the message, read the message, did not respond. Okay, this was in 2018. Never responded to the message, like nothing at all. And I was trying to gauge her in terms of, okay, were there any further attempts that you had made to possibly sit her down and kind of like see, how you can have this discussion with her and possibly tell her how you need her support. And because of the kind of relationship that they have, I understand why it was difficult for her to do so. right? It was very difficult to do so. So she never did that. Beyond the WhatsApp message that she had sent, there was nothing further that she had done from her side. And obviously, in this case, no mama, after seeing the message, never asked, nothing at all. So she had called her younger sisters to come through to the show to disclose to them that she is HIV positive, because I think she had come to a point where it's been a lot. It's been a lot that she's had to deal with all of these things alone. Not only about the HIV status, but also about the rape, cases and incidences, and how it actually affects, the other sisters as well. So sisters came through. Before they came through, I asked her, like, how do you think they're going to react? The middle one, I think it's the middle child syndrome. She's free-spirited, and she was very confident that she's going to take it well. She was more worried about the youngest. She's more vocal, she's more like, there's no gray area with her. It's either black or white. It's never gray. Okay, so she was more worried about how the youngest would affect her, and also considering now she's going to also disclose other things. That she needs to know, particularly the youngest. She was worried how she's going to take all of that. So anyway, they arrive. She discloses her HIV status to the sisters. She was right. The middle one was very, positive. Listen, I support you as my sister. What steps did you take to make sure that you are healthy? Are you on medication? And just know that I'll continue to support you as my sister. This does not change anything. In actual fact, it allows us to be more closer. And then when I went to the younger sister, so she had been quiet, like, ever since Unozuko disclosed her HIV status. She was just emotional. She didn't say anything, but she kept, like, honestly, she was just emotional. She was crying. And then eventually I went to her to ask her, is she okay? Is there anything that she would like to ask her sister? And for a while she said no. But I had been doing the episodes for quite some time to understand, and also from my experience, that there are people who are like that, and you can't be crying, you can't be visibly emotional, and then say you're fine. But eventually she was like, no, I'm fine, and I'll continue to also support my sister. And then she dropped a bomb. And then she said, actually, I've known that she was HIV positive since 2018. Hey, okay. How did you know? Apparently, she was, looking for something in her sister's toiletry bag, and she found the ARVs. Sister Wake had started ARVs, but she had decided that she was not going to bring up the issue, because she was under the impression that if she did not bring it up, then she was not ready. I want to pause there, because this is always a debate, and I've always, brought this issue or this topic up on social media, on Facebook, that how would you react if you accidentally find ARVs, of that belong to you, to your sibling, your family member? Do you immediately approach them and ask them, what those medication or those pills are for, and just request more information? Or do you wait until they come to you and disclose, their in this case, their HIV status? From experience, and a lot of people like debate, they have different views when it comes to this issue. Others are like, listen, if you find the ARVs, if I didn't tell you, then please keep quiet until a point where I am ready to disclose. And then my argument is, there are other people actually that will never be ready to disclose. They actually want the support, but they are just not sure how you are going to react. So they might even go to the grave with it, not disclosing, because they just, how they wished actually that you had asked. I guess it's different from one person to the next. Personally, for me, I've had an incident. If you have been following me for quite some time, you would know. Umama accidentally found my ARVs. Guys, I stand. So this one time, I've always been careless. Umama has always like reprimanded me for this. I've always been careless. When I found out that I was HIV positive, and a few years later started treatment. Like at home would lie around like in front of the mirror, like where my toiletries. I'll place my toiletries, okay? Because I don't know whether in my mind I was thinking, oh, mama is not gonna know what these pills are for. I don't know, okay? So I'll let them there. She cleans like the whole house, including my room, because there's no privacy in mom's house. Okay, that's another thing. So this one time, it was like the previous night, I was taking ARVs in my pills, and then I remember, I think as I was taking them, one fell like under the bed. And I am lazy, okay? I'm very lazy. So I was thinking to myself, no, I'm not going to literally crawl under the bed to find this pill. I'm just going to take another. So that's what I did. Took another pill and then placed them on top of the counter, whatever you call it. And that was it. The following day, I remember it was a weekend. I wanted to spend it with school. It was already the time I was dating with school. So anyway, mama, I think so. This happened on the Friday. Then I went to school on Saturday. I think it was Sunday morning. Mama Sana calls. Listen, it was around about 6, 7. No, it must have been 7, because that's when she starts cleaning. Around about 7 in the morning, mama calls. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's wrong? Okay. And she says, Nozi, what pills are these? I'm like, okay, you have to be more specific. What are you talking about? She says, no, I was busy cleaning your room and I found a pink and a big pill that has an H written on it. I'm like, that was a couple of seconds where I did not know what to say. It's like, no, I want to know, what pills are these? Okay. The one thing that I could think of, at the time I was working for an NGO, and as part of working for an NGO, we also used to work with people living with HIV. My job was mostly in marketing and client relationship management, donor visits. So the people that donated to the NGO, they'll come through to see our work firsthand, and then I'll take them around. And we had an on-site clinic that had like the nurses, the doctors, and obviously we had medication. So the only thing that was going to make sense in this case to save the entire situation is to say, man, it's pills from work. There was a donor visit, a donor that came through and wanted to see our clinic. So I'm sure it's one of the pills that I was showing him. But listen, Umama is very smart, okay? Umama is not educated. Like barely has even primary schooling, but she is very smart. But I think she was also not ready for whatever I was going to say, which brings me to another point. I think I appreciate like the sister saying I was waiting on her to say something, because in reality I don't think both of them were ready for that situation. When Umama came to me and asked me about the pills, it was already in defense mode. But please tell me, like, what I'm thinking is not what I'm thinking. Please tell me that you're not HIV positive. What pills are these? And then, so I literally gave her what she was asking for. And if she had come to me on a totally different angle, totally different, approach, it would have been a different conversation. Sit down, listen. No, so you know that you can talk to me about anything, ne? Well, ma'am, okay, so I found these pills under your bed, and I got worried because I don't know what they mean. As far as I know, you are not on any medication. Is there anything wrong? Is there anything that I should be aware of? Then possibly I also come with a different approach. But actually, Mama, this is something that I wanted to speak to you about, but I wasn't sure how you're going to take it. Yeah, what are your intentions? If they say they're HIV positive, uzawuthini? What kind of support are you able to offer them? If it's just for information sharing, guys, once again, please leave that person alone. Please leave them to take their pills in peace. Okay? That honestly, that is just from my own experience and what happened to me when it comes to someone disclosing, finding my pills accidentally. Then my second last point is a comment that came through on Facebook. I thought it was worth noting. So the comment was, Sisnazi, there was a discussion here at home after watching the episode, which is honestly also another highlight of mine. When I shot the show, I was like, okay, beyond assisting the people that come to the show, the guests, on a bigger scale, I want conversations that are going to happen at home. I want conversations. I want people to start talking. Yeah, man. Those are the things that I wanted. So umdu utimana, they're having an argument with the family member. The family member is saying, isn't there a possibility that Unozuko may have been infected, with HIV before she met Ugai in 2018? Is there a possibility that Unozuko may have been infected before she met Ugai in 2018? The reason that they're saying that is because of the two, rape incidents that happened in Unozuko's life when she was younger, and the second one as well. I noted that, and I actually realized that I never asked Unozuko whether or not they tested. Did I ask that? I can't remember. If I did, I can't even remember the answer. I don't recall asking Unozuko whether they tested with Ugai. And, well, considering that Ugai is on ARVs, if they had tested, he would have tested HIV positive, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming they did not test. They had a relationship. So how does Unozuko definitely know that she got infected through, her ex-boyfriend? And also, the argument of this person was, Unozuko, there's a high possibility that the diagnosis came from the two rape incidents, because if she is saying that the boyfriend is on ARVs, then HIV that is being treated cannot infect another person. That is where I differ. That is where I don't agree. Because one, we don't know how long the person has been living with HIV, with Guy in this case. We don't know how long has he been on treatment. Because if I start treatment lamhlanje, it does not mean so I'm undetectable. We don't know the adherence of the person that is living with HIV and subsequently taking their ARVs. Okay, so we cannot definitely assume that Unozuko was infected before this guy because Lomfana uku ARVs and because he's on ARVs automatically he cannot infect Unozuko. We don't know that. There are many ifs in this situation. So that is one question that came through on social media that I just wanted to address, that unfortunately that's just an assumption that we cannot prove, okay? But for future purposes and our own understanding of how HIV works, just because someone is on medication, unless you have, all the details of this person, when they started the medication, definitely for sure that every 8 a.m. in the evening they're taking ARVs zabo, then singathi you are correct that this person potentially they are undetectable. But even then, until there's documentation that this person is undetectable, we cannot assume so. We cannot assume. So we don't know in this case. And then the last thing that I wanted to share about, the episode, this is something that I had started to realize as we recorded more episodes. And this is something that I would like to take up with the directors, with the producers of the show as we prepare for season 2. Is that we need to pay more attention in how we research some of the stories, because it also leads to how we present the stories. Ne? So in this case, uNozuko wanted to disclose to her sisters, which is good enough, and it was necessary for all the siblings, and hence we did it. But when I was like talking to them more, I actually realized, mana, there is a gap in the story, and that gap is between uNozuko no mamakhe. That's the conversation that we're missing. Umama needed to be part of that conversation. There are things that umama needed to be accountable for. There are conversations that have not happened that needed to happen in the presence of umama. For example, Mama Umdana just told us that she was raped at a very young age. And according to her memory, there was no support that was provided for her, particularly from your side. So how do you recall, the whole experience? You having to go back to Cape Town the following day, not having done or said anything around the issue. You know the perpetrator, you know the male family friend, but there was nothing that was done. What is the nature of the relationship that you have with your daughter? Why is she under the impression that Uyamketa, you singling her out of all the siblings, right? Because even when I was having the conversation with uNozuko's sisters, they also are aware that uNozuko is being treated differently from the other two. And even the youngest was saying, if there's something that the other two sisters want to pass by umama, they can't do it. It has to be the younger one, because umama listens to the younger one more. Yeah, so those are the conversations that I felt like were also crucial to uNozuko's story that needed to happen, because I can only imagine uNozuko went back home, umama probably saw the show and continued not to say anything. So these are the lessons learned when it comes to season 1, and I believe that they are going to be very important as we shoot season 2. So that is uNozuko's story. I honestly wish them well. And I believe that once again, the bond that they have as sisters is what is going to carry them through. They love each other, they adore each other, and I have faith in them. This is only going to bring them more closer. So yeah, guys, there's another episode airing on Sunday, Honey TV DSTV channel 173 at 10 p.m. There's a repeat on Monday at 6 a.m., on Tuesday at 9 p.m., and also on Sundays at 2 p.m. Next week's story is going to be very interesting. I'm going to share the trailer. There were many moments where I was like, okay, this can't happen, okay? But once again, I'm going to be sharing my reviews next Monday. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Next time on Yes, I Have HIV.
Ngiphila ilife yasestradeni esetlabhini siphuza nomngane wami. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to be the talk of the town.
Did you test naye ngokunanite bani?
He refused.
Umntana abantu yena umtshelile.
Yo, ngizomtshela makaphendula ifoni.
Mangamtshela umuntu wakhe ngizositshelela yena.